You want to set up retrievable anchor systems because you think it'd be awesome to learn? Let's discuss the pros and cons of it and see what you really think of it afterwards. Hope you're having an amazing day. Thanks for watching. Hope you get something out of this. Hit that subscribe button and join along with us on our next adventures and videos. Hoping to be able to do a lot more of these tutorials here in the future as we have more interest. So let me know what you want to see. We're going to talk about the releasable macrame knot. Partly because I've had a request for it and I've kind of put it off for a while. The reason I put it off because it's more of an advanced technique. It's something that you really need to have an understanding of anchor systems in the early stages of your canyoneering career experience. You need to understand more of the anchors and how to build a proper anchor system than you do a releasable, retrievable system. They do come in handy, but they're not appropriate for every canyon and every drop. I've had these systems get caught and tangled, and I've lost rope. I've had to do canyons over again to retrieve rope because these systems have failed. Partly because they weren't set up correctly, and partly because they're not suitable for every canyon out there. So get a good understanding, a good base knowledge of anchoring and anchor systems. And these are kind of a backup emergency type system for the most part. There are a few canyons out there where they are required and so forth, and they do come in handy. So we're going to talk about the macrame, how to tie it, things to look for, and how to set it up and retrieve it. So let's go. First thing you're going to need still is with every anchor, every drop, you need to have rope that is double the length of the longest rappel. Always. You've got to be able to retrieve that rope. There are certain circumstances and situations where you can have two ropes and tie them together, and that works. You start having problems with the macrame though if you put knots in the rope. You might come into complications. So I like to have a full clean rope that I'm using. And we're going to make sure that we have one end reaches the ground, hits the bottom of that drop, and we're going to make sure we have enough rope to go down the other side of it because we have to have both ends to retrieve this system. Once we have both ends down, we're going to take a bite of that rope and we're going to wrap it around our anchor object. Trees work the best. If you're working it around a constriction, a rock constriction or something, you could have complications with that loop knotting up or catching on something. And I'm going to post a second part of this video talking about how I mitigate that. I'm going to make that available to our patrons. So if you want to check that out, jump on over to our Patreon page and sign up for that. But the basic macrame knot, once you get your loop, you're going to have the two sides separated. Keep it loose. And you just start with one side. You have to know which side your rappel side is. So I'm going to keep these two separate. That's my rappel side, this is my bag side. Keep that separate. It doesn't really matter which one you start with. It just matters which one you end with. So I'm going to take and pull that bag side bite through there. And I'm going to bring up the rappel side and pull a bite. I'm going to take that other end and kind of pull that tight. These are going to need to be tight to start out. You don't want them to be too tight to start out with, but they need to be snug. So we're going to pull that one tight-ish. I keep saying tight after I said snug. We're going to bring that next one in. And you just alternate this for about 4 loops, keeping them snug. So again, I've got my bag side. Now I'm going to start making them a little bit tighter for 5 and 6. We're going to start getting a little bit tighter. Pull in the back side again. And the last one you're going to do is you're going to have the rappel side be the one that you're going to crank down on really hard. Cranking down on your rappel side. That way you've got a good bite, a good toggle in there for that rappel rope to hold on to. And I usually like to make this about 12 to 15 inches. You can make it a little bit longer if you want to feel comfortable. But one thing to keep in mind and be cautious with, especially around trees, I mentioned boulders and stuff too. You don't want that bite to be able to get caught up on anything when you start pulling it. I've had that get snagged on things and it won't pull through. So you need to make sure your area is clear and free. I have a few little branches that are growing up out of the base of this one. There's a possibility that might snag this bite when I'm finished and I'm trying to pull it around the tree. These are light enough and small enough. I think I could put enough force on it to pull the rope through that one. Okay, so there we go. We're going to drop our bag, rappel off the edge, and then when we get to the bottom, it's just an alternating retrieval. I'm going to pull the bag side first. That pops, and you wait for until you can feel that pop. Sometimes if you're on 50, 60 feet plus, it's kind of hard to feel that pop. You may have to have two of you on this system, one pulling one side and one of you pulling the other. Pull the second side. Now that one, pop 2 loops at the same time just by pulling on that. And this is why you want those first ones to be a little loose. Okay. And that just pops all the way off and you retrieve your rope. So that's how you set up the macrame knot around a tree, a boulder, some object like that. Just alternate those weaves, those bites, back and forth, making sure that your rappel side is the last one to pull and cinch down on that so that's tight. Start out with the first couple being loose and finish off with the last ones being real tight. And then again, sometimes it's going to be a little bit of a fight to get those off, and you just got to keep pulling on them and tugging with them. I've had some that have taken us a good body weight to really unsnag. There is a video out by Richard Delaney. Some of you may have seen it. I'll try and find that and link it here, where he shows a macrame knot failing. It is possible if somebody's pulling on that loose end, the retrieval side or the bag side. If somebody's pulling on that while you're rappelling, it will release. So you want to make sure that everybody understands the system and what's going into that. It's not a foolproof system. Just like any retrievable system, you've got to have a competent group that understands how they work and what they can and can't do with them. So, questions, drop them in the comments. Tell me what you think. If you've used this system before, drop a comment and say yes. And if you haven't and why you haven't and you're scared to do it, drop me a comment and say why you're nervous to use it, and let's discuss it and see. Like I said, these are backup systems. You don't use them in every canyon. I've used them in emergencies where I've got to a spot that we really needed to rappel due to circumstances, and we've had to set these up because we didn't have any other options. So catch you on the next one. Comment below, like I said, what you think, and come join us for the next adventure in the next video. See you later.